Right, hello everybody. Hopefully this is live. I hate beginning these live videos because it's always like, can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? If you can hear me and see me, let me know. I am... Here we go. Somebody's there. No, I don't know. I'm not going to wait around to see if anybody's watching. I'm just going to start because I plan to leave this up on my website, on my Facebook page, and on my YouTube channel so that you can see it later. I feel like the subject of this video is the kind of thing that you will find it when you need it. By which I mean, if you are nearing a burnout or you know someone who has burnt out, this is the kind of thing that you will find it at that time, which is why I'm going to leave it available. Obviously, I'm doing it live just because that's the way to do it these days, isn't it? Right, okay, so the subject of this video is talking about burnout amongst cake decorators. So I just want to see, is there any way to see if people are commenting? I have no idea what is happening here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so if you want to post a question, I will try and keep my eye on these. Oh, there we go. Somebody, hi, hello. Somebody is there. So if you have a question, post it in the comments here. I will keep my eye on them as I'm talking and try and answer them as we come up. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is that part of the reason I've been hoping to do some more of these live videos is because I would like to bring more content to my YouTube channel, but in order to kind of monetize that, I need 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please go and do that. I will post this there as well for viewing later. If you don't know where to go, it's Julie Donald on YouTube, and I've put the link in the information of this post. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Right, let's get to the point now. So the first thing I'm going to talk about in this video is the reason that I wanted to make this video, the things that I'm seeing around me that make me think that this is a topic that we need to be talking about. I'm going to also talk about my own experiences with this, which I think are quite common, quite a normal experience. And then I'm going to talk about what we can do to change it or improve it. Okay, so what got me thinking about this in the first place was I spent quite a lot of time just cruising through Instagram. I'm sure most cake decorators do. It's a great way to see what other people are doing, get ideas, etc., etc. Be part of the community. And I've seen a couple of different people posting things over the last little while along the lines of, due to unforeseen circumstances, I will no longer be taking any orders. Or, you know, I've accepted another job and I won't be doing my business anymore. And you scroll back and you look at those people's Instagram posts running up to that point, and they are happy, showing off their work. Everything's great. I've got this amazing business. You should book with me. You know, the normal things you would expect to see from someone who's trying to get business. So I feel a little bit uncomfortable at this stage because I'm going to say some things which are not that flattering to the customers. So if you're a customer of mine, please, you know, just understand that this is completely hypothetical. There are no bad customers. You guys are all great. You should book. But I actually do want to have some real talk about the difficulty of dealing with people that are booking cakes and their expectation around that. So obviously, when you portray yourself on social media, one of the things that you're desperately trying to do is make it look like you're successful, it's great, your work is great, you love what you do, and people will hopefully buy into that and book with you. But that's not always the reality of working from home and having a home business. Sometimes it is very hard, and sometimes it is just demoralizing. And sometimes you do reach that point where you're just lying crying on the floor and you think, I can't do this anymore. I can't make another cake. I can't do this. And if you have been there, you'll know what I mean. I think most of you have been there at some point. So when you reach a stage like that, I'm not necessarily saying that that is burnout, but I think that is certainly pre-burnout. So that feeling of burnout for me has happened a couple of times actually in my life. Sorry, my dog is barking. One was in about 2010. I was very busy. I had moved to a new town, got engaged, bought our first house. My dad passed away in that year. My car was stolen. Like, just a lot of things were happening, good and bad. And I just reached a point, and actually it was my husband, or he wasn't my husband then, but he is now, who said to me, please, just don't do any more wedding cakes for a while. You're too awful to be around. He didn't quite say it like that. He was much nicer, much more tactful. But it made me realize, I am awful to be around. I'm in a foul mood all the time. My stress levels are uncontrolled. I'm not getting on top of the stress, and I'm not really enjoying what I do either. So at that point, I stopped taking wedding cakes and started doing other things. Another time when I think it basically happened is when my first child was born. I thought I was invincible. I thought I could do it all. I could have it all. So before she turned 1, I opened a shop, a premises. Took on so much like financial risk, stress, time. I'm not surprised that I ended up as a kind of blithering idiot by the end of that. I didn't have enough help. I didn't really know what I was doing, but hey, you know who does when they do these things. And there came a point where I had been working so many hours a week that I just couldn't keep up with it. I never saw my child. My marriage, we were 2 ships in the night. I was working these long hours. My husband also works reasonably long hours, and it was just, what is the point? You know, what am I getting out of this? Something I heard quite recently was, what do you want to do between now and death? Which sounds terrible, I realize, completely morbid, but just think about that for a minute. When you're lying on your deathbed, do you want to think about all the work you did? Is that the most important thing? No, that's not. It's about family. It's about connections with people. It's about living a full life with a legacy, whether that's your children or something else. That's the meaningful stuff. So spend a minute and just think about that. Not in a morbid way, but in a way that says, do I want to spend the next 20, 40, to whatever years of my life on a hamster wheel baking cakes for people who don't really appreciate it? I think the answer is no. I'm sure everyone feels that way. So the reason I'm saying this is not to be morbid, but just to try to bring a bit of perspective to it, especially to those people who are on the hamster wheel, who are running as fast as they can, getting those cakes out as best as they can, and not getting anywhere. They're not getting anywhere. And that, I think, is what leads to the burnout. Right, so that was my experience. At the time, I would not have called it a burnout. I didn't have those words. I didn't think of it in that sense. All I could think was, I need to make a change. And I think it's very easy to make these sort of sweeping decisions in moments of panic, like, oh, I hate it. I'm never doing any more cakes. I'm so over it. And I don't think that is the right answer either. I think we need to make decisions when our brains are in a calm, rational state. So in order to get to that calm, rational state, we need to get out of the panic state that comes with the burnout. And I'm no psychological expert. This is just my view, my experience. Hi from the Fiji Islands, my word, hello. Sorry. Hi, Nancy. I see all the rest of you. Fiji, I don't know. I can't quite cope. We're going international. Okay, let's get back on track here. So if you go online and you look for how to cure burnout or how to recover from burnout, the first things you'll find are a bunch of really unhelpful things that say things like, you should drink plenty of water and eat a healthy diet and get plenty of sleep, which is the most unhelpful thing I have ever heard in my whole life. And the reason I say that is because we all know, firstly, that we're supposed to be looking after our bodies, that we need to exercise and have fresh air to, focus and work hard. We all know that. But when you're in a situation where you can't see the wood for the trees, you can't see outside of what you need to do to survive this week, you've got 10 cakes that you need to get done, you've got to do this, you got to do that, you're living on the Red Bull or the Monster or whatever because there is no obvious way out. You just need to get through it. Then that advice is not helpful to anyone. I don't think. I don't know how everyone else feels about that. Let me just see if there's... Hi, Mary. Okay. So we are trying to get away from... We're trying to make a systemic change so that we are not in that situation where we can't find time to go for a walk or... whatever it is that you need to do to care for yourself or spend time with family. For me, that's a big issue. That's one of the things that first gets put on the back burner. It's like, oh, well, I've got to get this done. Husband, will you please take my... I was talking about Monster, hi Lisbeth, I was talking about Monster, the energy drink. You know those things. I used to live on those things. And I know I'm not the only one, so don't judge me too harshly. Okay. So, unhelpful advice, just put that to the side. We can do those things once we make this systemic change to figure out how we're going to have the time to do all those things. A slightly more helpful advice I found was someone saying, yeah, I know, you're a dark horse, Lisbeth, is asking for help. Okay, so in the sense of you could ask your family or your friends or whatever to help you, or you could perhaps hire someone to help you, whether that is someone that does your emails or someone that washes your dishes. You know, you can't always replace yourself in every aspect, so maybe only you are going to be making your figurines, but maybe you can give yourself a bit more time by getting someone to help you with other things that maybe you're not as good at or you don't like to do as much. But again, if you're in the hamster wheel and you're worried about your income, it's very difficult to get out of the hamster wheel to hire someone. Firstly, to find someone you trust, to pay them, to have the money to pay them, and also someone that you know, that's available. Or, you know, I often feel like I don't want to offer someone a part-time job. And I don't have enough work to offer someone a full-time job. So that's always hard for me, like that balancing act. Okay, so those are the things that you'll find. So I'm going to get to my point any minute now. Sorry, it's taking forever. I can obviously like to talk. But I think I'm going to use an example to explain what I think is the answer to this for a cake decorator. So let's have our two bakers. We'll call them Jackie and Jill. Okay, so Jackie is like me, perhaps. She is on the hamster wheel. She is so busy, she hasn't had a moment to think about her costings. Perhaps she did not think she was going to be doing this as a business from the beginning. She didn't start out with a business plan or anything like that. Maybe she started out doing cakes for friends. Sorry, let me just shut this thing up. Started doing cakes for friends or what? Oh gosh, no, I don't want that. Go away. There we go. Doing cakes for friends, or, you know, she started out doing it and thought, oh, well, this is a nice little side business, and it grew from there, or whatever it was with Jackie. And Jackie is very kind. She's very sweet. She's super helpful. So if someone phones her up and says, Jackie, I need a cake, she'll squeeze it in for you, because she's maybe not got the boundaries that she needs to have. And maybe Jackie doesn't have as much confidence in herself as she should have. So her costings are not up to scratch. So she's not aware, poor Jackie, we're being so mean about her. She's not aware of what she needs to do to earn a good kind of wage for herself and grow her business. She is charging the bare minimum because she's worried that people will say no if she charges more. And I think that has everything to do with her confidence. Maybe she thinks, I'm just a hobby baker, or I haven't been doing it that long, or I don't have any professional training, or whatever it is that Jackie says to herself that keeps her prices low. And also, so now people are asking for more or trying to get, I don't know, you know, because Jackie's a nice person. So if someone phones and says, oh, I need a cake for my kid, but I can't really afford it, can you help me? Of course she's going to help. And to be honest, I have never met a cake baker that's not a nice person, that's not willing to go that extra mile. I think bakers just intrinsically are nice people. So of course Jackie is going to go bend over backwards. She's going to take calls at 11 o'clock at night because that's how Jackie is. But now let's look at Jill. Jill started out with a business plan. She kept in the front of her mind what it was that she wanted to do with her business. She said to herself, I want to make this much money per month because that's what I need to pay my bills. She had good boundaries at the beginning, and she said, I don't take calls after 5 p.m. and she puts her phone off or puts it on silent or whatever, or doesn't reply until the next morning. She is still kind, but she doesn't work for free. So maybe she says to herself, well, I do like to do things for charity, but I'm going to take 1 cake per month for charity. And maybe she even uses that as a tax write-off. I don't quite know how you do that, but I think it's the kind of thing that people do. So when someone approaches her, she says, yes, I can help you. And then the next time someone approaches her, she says, I've done what I can this month, but I could maybe help you next month, or whatever it is. Jackie is more confident in her pricing because she's spent time working out her costings, and she knows that when she gives that price, that is a fair price. She's not second guessing herself saying, well, maybe I could do it cheaper, because she knows the cost of her ingredients and her electricity, and she's worked it out very carefully, and she knows what she needs to make. Okay, so let's compare Jackie and Jill. Jackie is in the weeds. She is on the hamster wheel. Let's say she's taking 10 cakes a week. Her prices are nice and low, so people are booking lots of cakes with her. She gets most of the cakes she quotes for, so she seems to be super busy, but maybe she's only making, I don't know, 100 Rand a cake, and she's got her 10 cakes. So she's making 1,000 Rand a week, let's say. But now we've got Jill. Jill's prices are higher, so she doesn't get every cake she quotes for. She doesn't... but she's, I think, hardened her heart, maybe, good old Jill, to saying, well, these are my prices. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's fine. And she is spending the spare time that she has marketing herself, social media, whatever it is that she's to attract her customers. So maybe she only gets 5 cakes, but she's making 200 Rand per cake. So she's still making the same money that Jackie is making, but she's doing half the work. And the reason that I say that this is the answer to burnout, because once you're on the hamster wheel and you're only making 100 Rand per cake, or whatever it is, I don't know, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not making it as a comment on anything. It depends on the cake, obviously. But sorry, the dog's barking again. So many noises. With that money that you could have been making, you could afford to pay someone else. I'll guarantee you Jackie's cakes are never going to be as good as Jill's cakes, because her time is so much less. She has to do 10 cakes to make the same money. She doesn't have the time to do them nicely and properly. She just has to get it done and get it out. Whereas Jackie can take Jill, I'm getting confused now. Smart Jill is taking her time. She can spend more time on each cake because she's going to be paid more for each cake. She can feasibly grow her business with that extra money by employing someone to help her, creating jobs, allowing her to take more cakes, etc. And I think we just have to go back to the basics for a minute. No one is going to become a millionaire baking cakes. Even the top bakers are not making millions baking cakes. What we want to have is like a fair and living wage. We just want to be able to pay our bills, send our kids to school, that kind of thing. No one's expecting us to be millionaires, okay? And I think if you want to be a millionaire, you need to think about kind of franchising your business or some other kind of thing, but I don't think you're going to do it being a home baker. I just don't think you can put out enough. Right, so let's wrap this all up for a second here. I think the answers to preventing a burnout are having clear boundaries. So when I first started doing cakes, I had taken some wedding cakes for the Saturday. I'm very much a person who likes to work early in the morning, so I'd gone to bed at like 10 o'clock on the Friday night thinking, well, I've got some finishing touches on these 2 wedding cakes I've got to deliver on Saturday. Fast asleep. It's like midnight, the phone rings. And I'm like, in the weeds, don't know what's happening. Answer the phone, because I think it's an emergency, because who else would phone you at 12 o'clock on a Friday night? Answer it. It's a customer of mine who's booked her wedding cake for a few weeks down the line, and she's having cupcakes. So I haven't done anything on her cake. She says, I just wanted to check that everything's okay with my cake. Just everything on track. And I, in that moment, realized how important boundaries are. I'm not terribly good about implementing my boundaries, but that was the first time I really realized that it's imperative. And by answering it, I gave her the impression that I am available at midnight on a Friday night to discuss her cake. I am honestly not available for that. And nobody should be. And there's this perception, because you're running a small business, that you are available 24/7 and you're so desperate for their work, you'll do it for nothing and you'll put up with all their crap. I'm over it. I don't have the energy for that. Sorry. See, this is those customers that want to book with me. Oh, you're all lovely, so lovely. So I think the way to do that is to, in a calm, sane moment, not in a moment when you're lying on the floor weeping, not that moment, another moment, sit down and make yourself a list of what are your business boundaries. Let's say you don't deliver. Then if someone asks you, oh, could you just deliver? You can say, sorry, I don't deliver. You need to pick it up. And it's not unkind, it's not mean, it's just a boundary. And if they don't like the boundary, they're probably not the customers you want anyway. Right, so in terms of costing, I feel like I bang on about this all the time. If anyone is stuck doing their costings, I have a whole bunch of videos on this subject, which are all on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page that you can look at, that explain how to work out the costs and how to work out your selling price and all of that. But having a confident price is the first step. So being able to say, I'm not willing to do this for less than X. Because burnout comes from earning little money and working extremely hard and thinking, why am I doing this? What is the point? I could just lie in bed and cry in peace. So that's the next thing. And then the last one is having confidence in your skill level. So even if your skill level isn't that high, you still need to, even, I don't know, fake it till you make it. I'm not too sure how to say to people, be confident in what you're doing. But I hear it all the time. People say, I can't really charge them. I'm just a hobby baker. I can't really charge them. I haven't been doing it that long. I can't really charge. It doesn't matter. You can charge them. Charge them for the work that you're doing, especially if you want to do it as a business. If you're just doing it for fun, then just cover your costs. That's fine. No one expects you to run a business if you don't want to. But if you're trying to run a business, you need to run a business. You can't just do it as a charity. You can't just make cakes and earn nothing. There's no point to that. Now there's some other beeping noise. What is happening here right now? I think being the cheapest quote is not going to serve you either. So I have this WhatsApp group. If anyone wants to join it, I'll put the link in the comments. It's like a WhatsApp group for chatting about cakes. It's great. And I think quite a few people that are watching now are in the group. And some of them were saying, what do you do when you quote and you're just not getting the work? I think you just need to let it go. So when I phone my toilet's leaking and I phone the plumber, I don't know, maybe not leaking toilet, maybe I need a new toilet. I'll maybe get a couple of quotes and then choose one based on how much I like them. What were their prices like? Did they get back to me quickly? Do I think they're going to do a good job? Whatever the reasoning, whatever my criteria are. But it's not only about price. So I might choose the cheapest, but I won't necessarily choose the cheapest. And someone in that group was commenting this morning, they compare it to a supermarket cake. There is no comparison there. Yes, I'll put the link. I'll do it as soon as I'm done here. It's like I'll put the link. You can just join it. And Nancy, I will also put the links. I'll reply to you when I'm finished here with the pricing story, that you can see those videos. I've got a lot of videos on that. Sorry, I'm getting off my track here. So another thing a truism, a thing I saw that said, learn to rest, not quit. And I think that's important. So if you find yourself nearing this point of burnout, I can't cope, I'm not managing at the work I have, take a moment. Say to yourself, I'm going to just take a week off. And obviously do it in a week where you don't have orders, so that you're not letting anyone down or whatever. But just say, I'm fully booked for this week. I'm not taking any orders. And comments are so distracting, sorry. And take that time to go and walk on the mountain and look at the trees and recreate and think your mind and get your creative juices flowing, because also you can't be creative when you're exhausted and you've got nothing left to give. And it's also very hard to be polite when you're in that state too. So I'm suggesting that take that time if you feel that that's where you are. If that doesn't help, take more time. Find the help. Get yourself together so that you are running a business that you enjoy running, because making cakes actually is awesome. It's an awesome job. It's fun. You're always part of people's fun birthday days. It really has so many perks that it's, and just take that time to get there. And don't, it's going to sound unlikely, don't be desperate for work. So if you don't get the jobs you quoted for, just let go. Take that time and try to attract the customers you want. I think another mistake that happens quite easily when you start off doing this kind of work is when you first start off, you want to build a portfolio and you want to try different techniques and whatever. So you take on jobs for low pay because you know it's going to be a great opportunity to do those things. But then when you start quoting people a proper price, they start to behave as if you've gotten too big for your boots, or I wrote down a few other things. I can't remember what I wrote down here. But basically, that who do you think you are to charge that amount? And I say to that, if people are asking you that question, these are not the customers you want. These are not they're not valuing the quality of your work. They are valuing your cheap prices. That's all. They're just looking for a cheap cake, and you were giving them that. If they truly value your skills, the taste of your cake, the style of your cakes, they'll pay a little bit extra. They'll pay a reasonable wage. And the same is true for family members, because family members can take advantage. They can be like, oh yeah, my sister does all my cakes for free. And you can end up turning away paying work to do free work, which is not what we're trying to do. Oh dear, I've got problems. I must be breaking up here. It's probably time to shut up. I don't know. Is everyone still there? Is anyone still see me? I don't know. It says my frame rate is too low. So, to wrap this all up in a nice little bow for you, Jackie is going to have a burnout. She is on the hamster wheel. She's not making enough money to make it worthwhile. And she's never going to get off the hamster wheel until she takes a break, charges a reasonable price, and values her own skills and feels confident giving that price. And she's never going to do that unless she has the time to work on her cakes appropriately. Jill is smart, and she will make smart decisions at a time when her brain is not in panic, in frantic state. We all want to be like Jill. I think we're all a bit like Jackie. So take a moment, think about how you can, because it's hard. Obviously, when you're in the hamster wheel, like the thought of stopping to do costings for cakes that you haven't even got yet, that you might not get because no one will accept your price. It's just, I think, a leap of faith that you have to take. Just go for it. So take a moment, do those costings, make sure that when you give the price, you are confident with it. You're not thinking to yourself, oh, I'm charging too much. I'm in, and what's that, imposter syndrome, where you think everyone's better than you. That's not true. That is not true. Those people are not better than you. They're just maybe at a different place in the journey. So just to go back to my first thing, one of the people I saw who was closing her business is a woman called the Turquoise Squirrel, I think her name is. And she has loads of cakes that are on Pinterest, and she's done cake flicks, whatever, tutorial. And I just thought, wow, she's closing her business. She's not doing cakes anymore. I don't know if she's going to be doing other tutorials and things. I'm not too sure. She wasn't clear. But even my mother, who's a pensioner, insisted on paying full price for a cake. Yes, that is right, Ursula. Your mother should pay full price. And for me, so a cake is not a necessity. It is a, oh Lord, it's just telling me it doesn't like me here. Sorry, let me just, I don't know what this is. It's not a necessity for life. Nobody needs to have a cake. You can have a birthday and not have a cake. I don't think it's great to do that, and obviously with kids, like, it's hard to tell your kids that. But if a person only has 150 Rand to spend on their cake, then they shouldn't be shopping with a custom cake baker. They should be shopping at Woolies or Spar or something, and they can get a nice little cake and stick some candles on it, and it's awesome. But what we do, the custom aspect of this, making fondant figurines and putting the kid's name on and making it special exactly as they want it, that is where the big expense is. So when people come and say things like, it's just a bit of flour, well, no, it's really not. It's time, skill, equipment, all of those other things that go into it. And until you start valuing that part of that, you're always going to be fighting with your customers. Something else that was mentioned in our group this morning is there's so much competition out there. And let me tell you, that may be true, but there's space for everyone in the industry, I think. I think if you want to beat the competition, stop worrying about what they're doing and just focus on you yourself and what you're doing that's going to set you apart from others, and tell people what that is. And I don't think, as I've mentioned before, that should be you're the cheapest. I don't think that's what it should be. I think this thing is, maybe going to cut me off now. I don't know what's happening here. So, does anyone have any questions on that? Another thing, sorry, just to go back to doing cakes for family and stuff. If you wanted to make a cake for your family member as a gift, that's great. That's a great gift. It's a fantastic thing to give someone as a gift, a beautiful cake. What could be nicer? But then I think just be clear that you're doing it as a gift. This is not a business transaction anymore. This is you giving them a gift. I think that takes some of that sort of resentment out of it, where you're thinking, but these are my family and they're not even willing to pay me for what I love doing. So that's my story for today. I think I've covered it all. If anyone has their own experience that they would like to share, please do. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. As I say, I'm going to keep this video available because I do think it's the kind of thing that hopefully my droning voice will pull you out of that day when you are crying on the floor. And I hope you all have a great day. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I think I have 80. So things are going rough there. #subscribe. Cool. And have a great day, and I will see you all in the WhatsApp group. I'm going to try and do some of these. I won't forget. I'm going to try and do more of these videos over the next little while. Again, if there's any subjects that you would like me to talk about, obviously cake decorating tutorials and stuff is what I'm actually trying to get to with the YouTube. But in the meantime, just my droning voice. Great. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to get that link right now. Mwah. Happy baking.